skilling. So we as a society should be not give inequality in female and male to do the PTSD screening.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Rodhiah. I think it's a very emotional, very emotional moment when you have when you did the data collection about the post-traumatic, and you face to the respondent and talking what they feel, what they feel in the tsunami. Okay, I think the time is up for our first presenter. Thank you very much, Ibu Rodhiah. Please give applause to Ibu Rodhiah and team. The virtual applause, yeah. Okay. All right. We move to the next presentations. Next presentation, Ibu or Mbak ini ya. Putu Tarani and Ahmad Kautsar from Universitas Pertamina Indonesia. Time is yours.
Okay. Health is one of the big challenges that must be faced by a country in supporting an economy. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce myself. My name is Putu Tarani from Pertamina University. First of all, I would like to say thank you for the opportunity that given to me in this moment. Today, I'm going to present about our research, and the title is The Impact of Poverty and Demographic on the Grip of Individual Health Status. And this is the contents that I will present today. Okay, as I said before, health is one of the big challenges that must be faced by a country. According to data from World Health Organization 2016 state that non-communicable disease contributes 71% of death in the world. One of the diseases that is responsible for the high mortality rate in the world is death caused by heart or cardiovascular disease, which 70.9 million people. And based on Kementerian Kesehatan 2019, in communicable disease, there is an overall death rate of around 3 million of the world population, one of which is caused by tuberculosis. Based on this report, of course, health is one of the important factors that must be considered by a country. According to data from World Health Organization, also state that fairly high number of deaths generally occurs in low-income and middle-income countries, where there are about 78% of deaths caused by non-communicable disease. The high mortality rate in these low-income countries occurs as a result of the lack of income that each individual has to buy the necessity of a healthy life. So it can be said that the grip of health is not far from the poverty trap. Based on data from Badan Pusat Statistik in March 2020, there are 26.42 million people classified as poor with a poverty line of 454,652 rupiah per capita per month. And how about the significance of study? For heart disease, there are two findings. First is according to research conducted by Schultz et al. 2018, state if an individual is classified as having a low income, the risk for cardiovascular or heart disease will be high, in line with the research conducted by Theo et al. 2013, which state that someone who lives in a country classified as a low income will also tend to have a higher risk of heart health problem by 25%. And for tuberculosis, also there are two findings. According to research, Oxlade and Murray 2012 state that one of the health problems that is often found in individuals who are classified as poor or low income is tuberculosis, in line with research by Sunanayake et al. 2018. Okay, what we want to achieve in this research is we want to measure how influential socioeconomic status and demographic factors are health problems. With the types of disease we use here are heart disease and tuberculosis. Okay, in this study, we use data from Indonesia Family Life Survey, which is a type of longitudinal data that is currently ongoing in Indonesia. And it's certainly a large-scale data type where there is household survey data can be taken by RAN 2014. Based on table variable description, the number of observations in this study were 9,075 individuals with variable of poverty level, type of work, age, education level, blood pressure, and nutritional status are the types of variable that use categories. While the variables that use nominal data is cigarette consumption variable. Variable outcomes that we use in this research, there are two variables, namely heart disease and tuberculosis. Okay, next, based on the statistical description table here, it can be seen that there are 1.03% of 9,075 individuals who have heart disease and 0.94% have tuberculosis, with the highest percentage of age, namely the age category of 35 until 44 years, about 38.32%. Then the percentage of formal workers is 47.9%, while non-formal workers is 52.1%. And the highest percentage at the level of education is at the high school level of 34.52%. Then the number of cigarette consumption on average is 12 cigarettes per day, with the percentage of poor people are 8.26%. Okay, next, in this study, we used an interpretation model using the marginal aspect to see the magnitude of the probability that occurs as a result of a change in the independent variable if other variables are held constant. Based on this result, this study found that the level of poverty with the best group is individual classified as a poor have no significant and negative relationship with heart disease by 0.11% and tuberculosis suffered by individual by 0.3%. In this case, the level of poverty has not been able to directly explain the possibility of a poor individual having a risk of heart disease and also tuberculosis. This is because there are still many individuals who are classified as not poor also have the disease. So there needs to be some explanation of other factors in health. The next variable is the level of education. Based on this result, it can be seen that someone who is in high school and college has a significant positive effect on the risk of heart disease by 0.5% for the high school level and 1.95% for college level. This is in line with report of Kementerian Kesehatan 2014 state that in general, a person who has heart disease is at the age of more than 15 years with a total percentage of 0.7 until 3.2%. In line with the first model, in the second model, it can be seen here that an individual who is at the high school level and college level has a significant positive relationship to tuberculosis by 1.03% for high school level and 0.7% for college level. And the next independent variable that we use is the type of work. And this study found that the type of work have a no significant negative relationship to heart disease by 0.011% and tuberculosis by 0.06%. In this case, the type of work variable has not shown a strong influence on the risk of heart disease. This is due to the need of other factors such as a healthy lifestyle and also the condition of the work environment. Then the age variable. In our study, we divided age into several categories. So we found that increasing age often have a significant positive effect on the high probability of an individual risk heart disease. With the greatest probability, it was found at above 55 years by 2.9%. This is in line with research conducted by Mark et al. 2018, which state that the possibility of an individual having a risk of heart disease at the age of 66 years is accompanied by other factors such as high blood pressure. Based on this result, it was also found that someone who was in the age category above 55 years had the highest probability of having the risk of tuberculosis by 1.5%. This study is in line with the research conducted by Snow et al. In 2017, which state that someone who is over 24 years old has a 1.2% risk probability of tuberculosis. Then we also use the blood pressure variable, where the results show that the blood pressure variable has a significant positive relationship to the risk of an individual developing heart disease by 1.2%. But on the other hand, the blood pressure variable has a no significant positive effect on tuberculosis by 0.4%. Next is cigarette consumption variable. Based on our result, we found that the cigarette variable have a no significant positive effect on the risk of heart disease by 0.008%. This is because there are other health factors that have a greater influence on heart health. We also found the same thing in tuberculosis. The variable cigarette consumption have no significant and positive effect of 0.003%. The last variable we used in this study was nutritional status. Based on this result, we found that nutritional status have a no significant negative relationship with heart disease by 0.14%. In the other hand, the nutritional status variable has a significant negative effect on the risk of tuberculosis by 0.6%. Okay. Based on this research, it can be concluded that the risk of health problem posed by an individual, especially heart or cardiovascular disease and tuberculosis as a major challenge in the country, can be triggered by various factors such as a healthy lifestyle and individual economic status and also demographic factors. Based on the economic status, it can be seen that someone who is classified as poor has limited access to obtain the needs to support a healthy lifestyle, so that the risk of getting heart disease and tuberculosis is very high. And for this reason, we need improving a healthy lifestyle with increasing age through by increasing socioeconomic and demographic factors owned by an individual with a broad and unlimited access is one way to reduce the risk of heart disease and tuberculosis. Okay, this study of course has limitation in the form of a self-report study where there is a bit of accurate measurement from the medical side of medicine to the risk of heart disease and tuberculosis, so that this can give a biased result. Okay, maybe that's all for the presentation. of our research. So if there are any mistake from me, and thank you very much for your great attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Mia. Thank you. Audience, anyone? Question directly to Mia, talking about the impact of poverty and demographic on the grip of individual health status. No? No question? Okay, waiting for the question. Mia, it is very interesting to look at the variables of the socio-economic. What do you think the other variable that have significant impact to the health status? Yeah, rather than education and demographic factor. What the other variables? Maybe for the research, yeah, for the research, the academia can choose or can put the other variable to look at the impact for the individual health status. What your comment?
Okay, thank you for the question. Yeah, I think so. The factors that we must to put in this research also, like health status, like surgery, blood pressure, and then any other factor in health status, because we don't know this. Like I said before, we don't know the result in the end is because the result is self-report. So I think that must be put in other factor like health status. Yeah, I think so. We must put that.
Yeah, I think
and yeah, and using track medical reports, the condition of environment, I think.
Yeah, I think in your paper you have to add some variable that affect for the health status. Maybe it's contribution for your research, and maybe the next researcher will continue your topics. Yeah, and
yes.
Yeah, I think there's no question in the chat box. And what about the unlimited access? What do you think about the unlimited access? Because you said that the unlimited access also can reduce, can reduce the health status. What do you think? What the meaning of the unlimited access?
Okay, I think unlimited access that we mean in this research is like health facilities, education, and then yeah, I think health facilities that, as we know that there is a lack of access for especially for people being poor. I think yes, health facilities.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ibu Dwi Oktarina. You have a question directly, please.
Okay. Thank you, Mia, for your presentation. In your result earlier, you mentioned that those who in college and university have more likely to develop heart disease, right? Do you have any idea why this could happen? I mean, if a person has a college or university background, they might have better knowledge in good healthy lifestyle, for example, that might hinder them to develop the heart disease. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question, Mrs. I think basically there isn't an individual who is at the high school level education and college level is more susceptible to tuberculosis or cardiovascular or heart disease, it is caused by an irregular healthy lifestyle, and also the possibility of behavior deviations such as consuming cigarette as a result of the emergence of curiosity in transition period of an individual teenager at the age of high school education level to be an adult individual. It's our limitation, but in this research, is our limitation didn't capture behavior individual. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, okay. We have one more question, yeah, Pak Tungku.
Thank you, Mr. Anakagu. Okay, Mia, thank you for presentation. I think it's a good presentation about the heart disease, and you seek a cause from tuberculosis, right? So I hear that you use the data from IFLS and you use several data, but I think you can use more data that might be interesting in IFLS. For example, how the person in the respondent use the insurance, for example, Jamkesmas or BPJS or something. That may be useful if you has like they have health insurance, so it maybe have effect on the incidence of tuberculosis and also the incidence of heart attack. And also, I think you should more take accentuate on the causal impact. For example, I see in your presentations, maybe I may be confused about the causal relation. For example, between the high blood pressures and the heart disease. Which one is first the cause and which one is the impact? For example, the person have a high blood pressures, maybe have a heart disease. Or a person have a heart disease, might be have a high blood pressure. This is maybe a bias on your estimation. So how you address that? Thank you.
Yeah, please, Mia, you can.
Yes. Yeah, I think thank you for the advice that has been given first. We will try to study more deeply about this and will correct errors in this study in accordance with the suggestions submitted. Thank you. I think our limitation in this research is not use instrumental variable model. I think this is the limitation in our research.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. It's clear, Pak Tengku?
Yes. Yeah. I think this could be better if you improve your paper.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. We still have around 5 minutes. Maybe the last question from Ibu Tri.
Yeah, thank you, Mbak Putu. I just would like to suggest to include data from IFLS on physical activities section, because I think you predict that lifestyle might contributes to this health outcome, especially for those from the educated group. So I think by incorporating information on physical activities, they have several questions on that sections. It might help you to see what factors actually contributes to these poor health outcomes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the advice that has been given. Yeah, we will try to study more deeply about this and we'll correct errors in this study according with the suggestion. And yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Tri. Any more question? One more question maybe in 3 minutes. Very short question. No? Okay, I think there's no more question. Thank you very much for your great presentation, Mia. Good luck to you and your team. Give applause, virtual applause to Mia and team. Thank you. Okay, our third presenter, ya, Ibu Nur Aida Triandini from Core Indonesia with team Nur Fitria from Core Indonesia and Muhammad Vigor Santoso from Universitas Airlangga. Time is yours, Ibu Nur Aida, 15 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thanks very much for joining this parallel. I hope you are in good health and can follow this event until the end. Okay, my name is Nur Aida Triandini from Core Indonesia. Now I will present a paper about happiness level. I wrote this paper together with my friend Faiza Fitria from Core Indonesia and Muhammad Vigor from Airlangga University. The title of our paper is an empirical examination on the happiness level of married individual. Is there such thing as golden age at the marriage? I divided my presentation this morning into 4 sections. The first section is background and literature review. In this section, I will explain why we raised this issue. The second is data and research method. The third is finding and discussion. And the last one is conclusion and limitation. Okay, data from the World Bank show that there is a significant differences in the age of first marriage in the world. Other than that, the trend of the age of first marriage in various countries saw an inconsistent point in recent years. And the same thing happened in Indonesia. There is differences in the age of the marriage in Indonesia. This is because a linkage of Indonesia ethnic and cultural. Every province in Indonesia has a different distribution, the age at the first marriage. So why we focus on the age at the first marriage? Age at the first marriage is very interesting to study because it will have impact on several things. The age of the first marriage greatly affects the number of children that will be produced in the household. If an individual decides to get married at a very young age, the possibility of having children will be more than individuals who get married at more mature age. Besides that, the choice of age the first marriage will also have impact on higher educational attachment, individual stability, health, greater poverty, and economic insecurity. Determinant of the age first marriage will also affect opportunities to complete education and focus the career development. The development of the career interest and education will make individuals more prepared to carry out family relationship, more mature to making decisions in the household, and affect the stability of the marriage. So which one is better? Marry at young age or marry at the old age? Marry at a young age will have impact on the marriage stability. When marriage at the age of less than 20 years will be more at risk instability in marriage when compared with those who married at the age 20 and over. Marital instability in early marriage reflect that inability of each partner role relate to communication and intimacy. This is referred to as maturity effect, where when married at early age will increase the risk of disorder because they are too based on false expectation. But the instability in marriage is not only happen by people who are married in early age. People who marriage late can be also marital instability. This is because when someone get married late, they will tend to have a low level of compatibility with a partner. Over time, what will likely happen is their late 20s or 30s will revise their expectation downward and accept the partner that is far from their optimal partner. And this is bad affect the stability of marriage and happiness level. Which you know, the level of happiness has a positive effect on person level of productivity. This is because when person experience bad event, such as quarrel in the family and unsatisfaction in the family, they will be less happy and less productive. One possibility when someone is not happy is that they will be distracted from their optimality at work. There are several reasons why economists need to use the happiness approach. One of them to identify the determinant of happiness than impact of social life. This is very useful for formulating policy to increase people's happiness. Our study takes important first step in filling gap in literature and provide empirical evidence-based marriage decision. The focus on this study is explore quantitative survey data to understand differences in the decision-making of individuals get at the first marriage in Indonesia. The main purpose of this paper is to find out the right age for determining the age of the first marriage in order to increase the level in individual happiness in Indonesia. Okay, we use full cross-section data that had been processed from Indonesia Family Life Survey. We also limited the study sample to people who were in their productive age 15 until 60 years during the survey and were married when they were 10 until 40 years old. The dependent variable is this research is happiness level. Happiness level is shown in ordinal variable that has four as follow: very unhappy, happy, happy, and very happy. We control individual characteristics such as monthly earning and physical condition. We also control household characteristics as a number of children as household, length of marriage, individual bargaining power, and household. And the last group of variables that have been controlled in the characteristic of social improvement, such as the willingness to give help for the neighbor and perception on the neighbor security. Besides that, location of the residential area and the years of survey has also been controlled in the model. And we estimate the research result using order logistic regression. Okay, there is differentiation onto variable of interest between married women and married men. Estimation research on married women show that before 15 years old, as the marriage have negative correlation on happiness level. This is aligned with the early stage of Becker hypothesis. The hypothesis states that as the marriage has U-shaped correlation with marital instability. When people get married too early, the stability of their marriage will be disturbed. This happens because persons tend to have high or mistaken expectation or their partner. The name of the phenomena is maturity effect. This marital instability will affect the couple level of happiness that indicate the level of satisfaction between partners during the marriage. Our finding show that is potential for minimizing marital instability that is age 15 until 26 years old because in this age, the age of happiness level has positive correlation. But the age of 15, the biological condition is not ready for sexual activity because their reproductive organs are not well functioning yet. We calculate the marginal effect and found that biggest marginal effect in when people get married at the 21. The positive correlation between two variables of interest stand at the age of 26 years old. So we consider it's the range optimal of the marriage when he has positive correlation with happiness level and with biological condition is ready enough to their function on reproductive role. After the age of 20 years old, the positive correlation is dead. 1 year's increase age marriage will decrease happiness level of married women. This result is aligned with finding Becker. They found that the one who delay to get married tend to be less stable than those who got married early 20s. This is because poor match effect. Women who reach late 20s or 30s thinking to revise their expectation downward and settle for partner who is far from the optimal match. Postponing for getting married can cause marital unhappiness. This is happen because behavior or characteristic or partner don't meet their expectation. But different with estimation result of the woman, the effect of HDF marriage on man happiness level is inverted U-shape. Our results show that age of 23rd is the turning point. At this age, positive correlation between two variables of interest in change to negative correlation. Age of 23rd is relatively young for men to marry in Indonesia. The data show that although the married men who got married in 23rd years old tend to have better happiness level compared to their counterpart. They don't have enough economic suspension. So all they have are only subjective well-being, but not economic well-being. Even though economic well-being is very important, that's sustainable of the marriage. We suspect that better happiness level on early marriage men is because fulfillment or physiological needs. Another gain for married men is they have less burden on domestic work, so they can focus on their job and the career. This finding show correlation between happiness level age marriage has different shape on women and men. On women, the correlation double parabolic shape. However, the correlation on men is single parabolic shape. This is the new finding in marriage literature because previous literature have not been differentiate the optimal age of the marriage based on the gender. This is implied that there is different factors that affect the formation of optimal age of the marriage between men and women. Those can be social or cultural factors that are necessary to observe. Okay, thanks all for my presentation. I hope the finding from our paper contribute the knowledge and perspective of someone about happiness level and decision to get married. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Nur Aida. Interesting research about happiness level of married individuals. Okay, their audience, anyone question directly to Ibu Nur Aida? Okay, Ibu Nur. Waiting for the other question. What is your limitation study?
Limitation. Yes, my paper have limitation study. There is shortcoming in research. We suspect there is reverse causality between dependent variable happiness level and one of independent variable. Happiness level can have effect on individual earning because physical condition impact on work productivity. Moreover, productivity will reflect because physical condition impact to work productivity. On other hand, individual earning can cause person happiness level because affect to economic well-being. We try to resolve this problem by using IV, instrumental variable, that we estimate adopting 2SLS method, but the research show the simultaneous is proven on woman estimation, but it's not proven on men estimation. But after we use 2SLS method, we years of work as IV, the correlation between two variables of interest is not significant. We suggest for the other research to find other IV and control variable to those can obtain better result. Is the limitation in this research.
Okay. This paper on your study talking about the happiness level at the married individual, right? Okay, and maybe you have some literature before that talk about the happiness level for single, yeah, for being a single. Is any in theory, what do you think the happiness level of married individual and the happiness level being a single? What do you think? I think it's a very interesting when the variable is at the happiness level, but in your study focus on the married individual. And what do you think? What do you think of happiness level in being a single? Maybe until they married. Is any research before talking about that issues, that sample issues? What do you think?
Okay, the Becker said that people who married is more happy than the single people. So we use the Becker theory to this paper.
What do you say? You your background from a Becker?
People who married is happier than people who not married. Is aligned with the Becker theory. So in literature review in this paper, we use Becker theory to memperkuat the finding our paper.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's very interesting. Yeah. Okay. Any question from audience? Maybe you can type in the chat box or directly to Ibu Nur Aida. What your suggestion for next research, Ibu Nur Aida?
I think the next research in happiness level see the IV to control the variable to find the better research, because we did not find the best IV to this paper.
Okay, all right. No more question? We still have around 7 minutes.
I want to ask question, Bapak Agung.
Yeah. Okay.
So Ibu Nur Aida, I want to ask that according to your research, so at what age a woman and man should marry? and what age or length of time the marriage that the couple should wear, because I saw from your graphic and there is a decrease in decrease and increase in happiness. So what time of the length marriage the couple should aware of the critical decrease of happiness in the marriage? It's according to your research. Thank you.
Okay. For women, the range of the best age for the marriage is 15 until 26. But the psychological and biological factor in 15 is not best because because organs are not well functioned to reproductive. So this paper suggests the age of best marriage is 21 for women. But for men, the best age is 23.
It's clear, Ibu Rodhiah?
Yeah. Yes. And my next question is what length of the marriage that we should wear as a couple? Because I saw from your slide there is a graphic of level happiness between age and marriage with both and woman and man. There is decrease or increase in the graphic. So as a couple, as what age or length of marriage that we should aware of the decrease of the level happiness? Maybe it can remind us as a married couple to aware from the critical happiness.
Okay, we don't internalize length of marriage in our model. It's used only for IV. So maybe it's a limitation to in my paper.
Oh, you don't use it. Okay. Yeah. I think it will be interesting if you include the length of marriage in the to independent variable to determine the happiness of marriage.
Okay, maybe the next paper I will and my friend add the suggestion from Mbak Rodhiah.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Rodhiah, for your great advice, to make a good contribution for this paper. Thank you very much, Ibu Nur Aida. Give applause to Ibu Nur Aida. Good luck for your research. Okay, this is our last presenter, Ibu Fitria Nur Anggraini and Tim Tengku Munawar from Institut Teknologi Bandung, Indonesia. Time is yours, Ibu. 15 minutes. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for the opportunities and good morning everyone. Honorable to Pak Agung as moderator. Thank you Mbak Rate and all participants and presenter. We all know COVID-19 case has crisis in Indonesia, but I wish everyone here and our family are healthy and safe. Don't forget to health protocol as the government recommended. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Anggra. Here, I read our paper with my lecturer, Mr. Tengku Munawar Kail. He is a lecturer on Department of Development Studies, School of Architecture Planning and Policy Development of Bandung Institute of Technology. And today we will present our paper. The title is Estimating the Impact of Aceh and Papua Special Autonomy on Health Outcomes. We use a synthetic control method approach to analyze this issue. Okay, let me go to the next slide. In this slide, I will try to explain the background why we choose this issue. The Constitution 1945 acknowledged 5 subnational governments that have special or privilege on implementing their authority, which are Nangro Aceh Darussalam, Papua, Papua Barat, DIY, and Jakarta. For Aceh, was regulated in Law Number 80 on 2001, which was amendment into Law Number 11 of 2006, and Papua were regulated Law Number 21 on 2001, and which was regulate the amendment on Law Number 1 of 2008. The purpose of the special autonomy regulation is to accelerate the regional development, and one of them to increase the critical issue like health sector. Aceh and Papua has implemented the special autonomy for 2 decades. Both regions are reaching the aspiration of special autonomy status as the law implicitly mandated an evaluation after 20 years of special autonomy. Many literature about the evaluation of Papua and Aceh, but no study could be found to answer the fundamental question of impact evaluation, which is the impact of special autonomy to Aceh and Papua compared to the condition if only they didn't receive the special status. By comparing the performance on health outcomes in real condition and a synthetic condition, we can withdraw a robust conclusion of the impact of special autonomy on health outcomes. Of course, with the ceteris paribus assumption. And the findings should apply all the recent issue in Indonesia development, the effectivity and the efficiency of special autonomy in Aceh and Papua post 2 decades of Indonesia asymmetric decentralization. Okay, for the next slide, we put put three main points, but our literature review. The first is decentralization. Rondelis, Neil, and Chema on 1983 explained that decentralization in public governance is a transfer made to carry out planning, management, revenue generation, and resource allocation from the central government and its agency to those in field, like from vertical organization, local unit, semi-autonomous organization, and corporation, local government, and organization, included NGO. And the special autonomy on government regulation is the development of decentralization or regional autonomy that is granted by the central government only to certain regions because these regions have privilege on other regions in Indonesia do not have. Why Aceh province get the special autonomy? Because it has a unique, namely it is people have a view of life, social character, and society with a strong Islamic culture. And for Papua, the Papua was given because the specifically of the area. And next I will explain about the data. We collect the data from the Indonesia Database for Economic Research, or we call it with Indodapur by the World Bank. But unfortunately, not all the data available, so we did interpolation because the data should be strong balance and not unobservable data to run the model. We divide 4 variable health outcome indicators. There are Human Development Index, and the second is immunization coverage for children under 5 years old of children population. The next is morbidity rate, and the last is birth attended by skilled health worker. And we also divide some predictor variables. There are monthly per capita household health expenditure, and then total on-source revenue, or we call it with PAD, And then total general allocation grant, or we call it with DAU. The third is total special allocation grant, or DAK. Next is natural resource revenue, or DBH. And the last is special autonomy fund and other transfer. The next is methodology. As I mentioned before, that we use synthetic control method to analyze this issue, and the synthetic control method was introduced by Abadi in 2010. They use SCM to estimate the impact of California Tobacco Control Law on tobacco consumption. There are 6 steps to identify or to run the methodology method. First step is identify predictor of outcome variable, and the second is identify possible donor state to synthetic the control state, and the third is just a method for selection predictor weight. Step 4 is assess the pre-treatment period goodness of fit of the synthetic control state, and step 5 is conduct placebo test on state in the donor pool to evaluate the significant or result for the treat state, and the last step is conduct sensitivity analyze to future test the credibility of the result. From this picture, we can see that, we can see that this is the treatment regional in this paper is Aceh and Papua. The regional that get the treatment, there is special autonomies or OTSUS, and this is the donor. Donor pool is a regional that has same characteristic with the regional that get treatment. And then the next is compare actual synthetic outcome from treatment effect. Okay, let me go to the next slide. The next slide is result. We divide 2 parts of the result. The first is impact of special autonomy status on health outcome in Aceh. This is the result of our paper. I'm sorry. This is in the figure 2. We can see the comparison of Aceh with synthetic Aceh or the donor pool. There are three regional, Riau, Papua, and North Maluku that has same characteristic with Aceh. From this picture, we can see that Human Development Index is 4.5%, where the special autonomy status increases 4.5% of HDI in Aceh with comparable synthetic version, which do not have received special status. And for the figure 3, we can see the donor pool are Papua, Yogyakarta, and North Sulawesi, show that the comparison of immunization coverage perform worse than the comparable peer, where the special autonomy status decreased immunization coverage by 10.91%. And for figure 4, it is a comparison between Aceh and the synthetic region or donor pool. There are Papua, East Kalimantan, and Yogyakarta, and the result show that special autonomy status positively contribute on health outcomes, where the birth attended by health worker is 4.62% higher for Aceh than its comparable synthetic peer. And for figure 5, the morbidity rate is 3.67% higher for Aceh than its comparable peer. And the next is result for impact of special autonomy status on health outcomes in Papua. Same with Aceh, we compare the treatment region with a synthetic region. For the first variable is HDI, and the donor pool is Jakarta, Maluku, and Aceh showed that the gap of a Human Development Index of Papua and its comparable peer is 12.5%, where Papua is less than the synthetic region. The possible reason behind this surprising finding is the proliferation of West Papua, which slow the development in Papua for long run. And for feature 7, show the analysis of the variable immunization coverage comparison of Papua and the synthetic region show that the immunization coverage in Papua also like 11.42% lower than its synthetic peer. And the third, we also analyze variable birth attended by healthy worker as outcome of public provision, with a show at figure 8. This is the comparison, and the region is the Sulawesi, Nusa Tenggara, and West Java show that for some year the performance is better, but for some years the performance is worse. And the last is figure 9. It is comparison of Papua and control or synthetic region, the Central Kalimantan, Riau, and Jakarta show that from period 2004 up to 2010, the synthetic peer performance better than Papua, with morbidity rate is 2.71% lower on average. However, after years 2010, Papua performed better than its peer with 7.41% lower on average for 2018 up to 2017. And finally, we already in the last slide, based on my previous slide, we can conclude that impact of special autonomy status are different in each province. The first, our conclusion is for Aceh, the performance of Human Development Index and morbidity rate are no better off than its synthetic. Moreover, the Aceh province performed better than its synthetic control for the health provision indicator, birth attended by health worker, and immunization coverage. And for overall, the special autonomy status in Aceh contribute on enhancing health system provision, but fail to improve the health outcomes. And the second, for Papua, the performance on health outcomes such as Human Development Index, morbidity rate, birth attended by health worker, and immunization coverage are worse. Is that comparable synthetic peer? We suspect that proliferation of West Papua in 2008 has taken course on development, while the government was busy on establishing administrative institution with less effort on preparing health provision. So our conclusion is the implication of our research should support the continuity of asymmetric decentralization for Aceh and Papua, together with sustainability of special autonomy grant for Aceh and Papua as the government seek the momentum of revision for law number 221 on 2001 and law 11 on 2006. And that's all my presentation. Thank you for your attention. I hope we can meet again in another great event, and I hope you can give us insight and suggest from our paper. And once again, stay healthy, everyone. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Fitria Anggraini. Thank you very much. Okay, we have one question. Raise hand, Ibu Asri Febrianti, please.
Okay, hello. Uh, Mbak Anggra, thank you for your presentation. It's really interesting. I would like to ask, I have a question. We can see in your research, Aceh and Papua has a different performance. Aceh perform better, but Papua perform worse. But how could you recommend that they should the continuity of their implementation of the special autonomy grant? Because in my opinion, maybe we should continue for the one who perform better, not both of them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Asri. I will try to answer your question, but for the details, maybe I need my partner, also my lecturer, Mr. Tengku, to explain it more. I will try to answer that we still continue the decision of special autonomy because, as I mentioned in our conclusion, the Papua, the performance of health outcomes are worse because the proliferation of West Papua in 2008, because the proliferation has taken cost on development where the government was busy and stability in administration and institution. So it is need more pendampingan lebih lanjut. I think it is my answer. Maybe Pak Tengku can explain more.
Yeah, thank you, Asri. So I think my opinion, because the decision of the continuity or we stop the special autonomy status in Papua and Aceh, must be there is a process of political process there. So we can say that. So should we stop because this region is perform worse, so we should stop, but it is not. It's not like that because the maybe there is some like political agenda in Indonesia, so this should be continued. Even they perform worse. What I think is we don't say is that the perform worse is caused by the performance of government of Papua and provide the public provisions, but I think it is because we seek the evaluation is in a longer term, in a longer period. So if the government itself in experience, for example, a proliferation, so they must like prepare something that make me take cost to do a public provisions. So that's why we against the decision of proliferation in our studies. Says like the future issues, and is this enough for like Papua to be only 2 provinces? It should be like 3 provinces or more, 5 provinces, right? Because it's to bring the decentralization, to bring the government closer to their people. But I think we against that arguments. That's all, Asri.
Is it clear, Asri?
Yeah, clear. Thank you for your answer.
Okay, thank you, Asri. Next question, I think from Bapak Andika ya. Andika Kusuma. Okay. Please, Pak Andika, your question.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for Mbak Anggra and Pak Tengku for your paper and presentation. I think it's really interesting results, and we can know the impact of the special autonomy of Aceh and Papua. Maybe it is similar with the previous question. Maybe can you elaborate or identify what made Papua perform worse and how to solve it? And the second question, I have you considered about the spillover effect? I mean, when the Aceh can increase their outcome of, health outcome because of the special autonomy, can it make a spillover effect to the other regions, such as North Sumatra, or maybe in that case, your synthetic region? Can you explain it clearly? And thank you.
Thank you, Mas Andika, for the question. I will try to answer it. And for the first question, I will explain that we can show for our research on figure 6. Sorry, can I please share screen? This is the result for our paper for the impact of special autonomy status on health on Papua. From the figure 6 until figure 9, we can see that some variable is worse and some variable is better for in different years. And as we mentioned in our conclusion, that the West Papua, the worst performance of Papua, we suspect that because the proliferation of West Papua in 2008. And so our suggest, if the special autonomy will be continued, the central government should be support the deliverable of OTSUS, and they should give more capacity building for the Papua government. And maybe Pak Tengku will add some explanation.
Yeah, thank you, Andika. So I think you're asking about if we give a region a special autonomy and perform better. So should we give other region a special autonomy status? So this is maybe like relating with the question of asymmetric decentralization. Why we give a region a special autonomy status, right? So we can say that why Indonesian give a special autonomy status only on Papua and on Aceh and other 3 regions, right? So maybe this is related with the background of historical and the uniqueness on to avoid disintegration or something. So we can say that this decision to give a special autonomy status may be independent from they perform better or worse. So, for example, can you imagine if we give all the region a special autonomy status because everyone is unique, right? So if you don't treat people like this unique, everyone is unique, then there's no uniqueness. That's why. So this is maybe like a spillover. So maybe like the voice of other regions. So why we don't get a special autonomy status, for example, in Maluku or in Kalimantan, they have like a new capital, right? So they ask for a special autonomy region, or for example, in Maluku, they left their luck ahead from the development. So should we give them a special autonomic region? Why only Aceh and Papua? So this is like the question that should be we avoided, because the decision of giving special autonomy status should be based on the policy and not only from the technocratic process, but also the political process. And if you say that, so what should we do to what we learned from the Aceh and Papua? So this is like, we designed a good mechanism for decentralization, because the best decentralization mechanism is to give the power to the region, to the local government, to spend with their uniqueness. And this is already done step by step by the government of Indonesia, the central governments. So it's like we still seek a balance of it, because, you know, like if we are too decentralized like the United States did, so it's not become better. But if we are too centralized like USSR did, so it's not a better choice for us. So which is the balance? So this is what happened in Indonesia. So we have 5 asymmetric concentration and we cannot give more.
Is it clear, Mas Andika? Or you can give more insight?
Maybe can you explain about the spillover effect? I mean, when the HDI in Aceh can increase because of the special autonomy, can give effects to the other region in the nearest neighbors, yeah, such as North Sumatra or something like that, can improve also their HDI. Do you think about it?
Yeah. As I have said earlier, so the spillover effects means that what happened in one region should be maybe have affected the other region decisions, right? So in my point of view, so if this region give a special autonomy status, the other region maybe wants it. So that's why this is like the voice should be redeemed by the central governments. But if you ask about the neighbor effect, because the difference on the funding is like this one gets special transfer, the other doesn't get. But the public provision should be same. This one should perform. This one can perform about this level. The other region can perform about the same level. But the difference is the one region is get the special autonomy, the other one doesn't get it. So maybe we can see by case about the spillover effect. For example, the special autonomy fund in Aceh, they are spend it on a building a very good or high quality hospital. Then the people on the, for example, North Sumatra can go there to seek a health provision. So maybe there's a good spillover from the special autonomy, but you know, the Ministry of Finance, maybe if this region get a special autonomy funds, the other region, they doesn't get, but they get more, for example, the specific transfer grants, or for example, they receive the incentive grant or something. So they all Indonesia should be balanced.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Andika. I think it's clear for that question. We have around 3 or 4 minutes. Maybe the last question, Ibu Tri.
Okay, thank you, Mbak, for the presenters. I think this is very interesting topics. Dealing with the impact of policies. But that's true that when you conclude and then you give a recommendation is a bit tricky because it seems like that the policies is not effective in terms of improving health outcomes. Please apology, maybe I missed your presentation. If you can explain when the cutoff, the year of the cutoff that you use in this study, like before and after before and after the. So
I'm sorry, Bu.
So the cutoff is in which year? Sorry, I couldn't see from.
Okay. Maybe I will try to answer it. Thank you, Bu. The cutoff is in 2007.
Okay. Okay. So what are other factors that you impute in your when you do a synthetic SCM, right? What are other factors? Like what are other variables that you put in your estimation when you try to find your synthetic?
Okay, we try. As we mentioned before, we used for main variable for health outcome indicator and 6 variable control. And why we use SGM, I think the SGM is explained more. I'm sorry. Okay. Because the SGM then other method, because SGM compare the region who receive treatment with other region who did receive the treatment, but they have the same characteristic in other methods as the ID compare the region only before and after receive treatment. And the pertimbangan we use 6 variable complement because it's
what are the 6 control variables?
Maybe I can share the detail. This is the four variable, main variable for health outcome indicator, and 6 predictor variables is per capita household health expenditure and PAD, DAU, DAK, DBH, and autonomy fund and other transfer.
Okay, yeah, okay. This is just a suggestion. Perhaps if you can add more control variables,
sorry, Bu, I cannot hear you.
Then you will have better synthetic range. Hello, hello.
I'm sorry,
sorry. Can you hear me now?
Here.
Okay, that's all right. I will type in the chat box then.
Thank you. Thank you for your recommendation.
Yeah, for your suggestion, Ibu Tri, thank you. Maybe you can chat in the box or directly message to Ibu Fitria. Okay, thank you very much for all our presentation. Okay, thank you very much for your attention and attend to this parallel session. Thank you, and maybe we can meet in the other session. Stay safe. Yeah, stay at home.